Helen Crabtree is acknowledged as the foremost teacher of equitation in the United States. Helen gives clinics from coast to coast, from Alaska to South Africa. Her record of 22 winners of the finals of the AHSA medal, the Good Hands, and the UPHA is unequaled. She has been featured in People magazine, Sports Illustrated, and has trained saddle horses and ponies to over 75 world championships. Named Horsewoman of the Year by the AHSA and Trainer of the Year by the United Professional Horsemen Association, the only woman ever so honored. She also holds an honorary doctorate from McMurray College for her work with horses and riders. Video Horse World proudly presents Helen Crabtree's Saddle Seat Equitation.
Hello, I'm Helen Crabtree, and we are here at the farm today to prepare a video for your enjoyment on saddle seat equitation. We have two horses that we have used, and I would like to acknowledge their use by thanking Miss Dotsy Cowden of Louisville, Kentucky for her chestnut gelding, and Miss Whitney Greer of London, Kentucky for her bay mare. Most of all, I would like to welcome, come in, Ruth Ann, the young lady who is doing the riding for me in this film, a girl who has a great deal of experience and one of the all-time big winners in equitation. She's now retired, so she won't be competing in equitation, but she can show us what to do. We have hoped to make this film enjoyable for all riders on all breeds and all levels of expertise, from the beginner to the finished rider. Thank you. One of the most important things about equitation is your instrument. This means your horse. The horse must be properly tacked individually for each horse according to his disposition and his responses, and the fit of the bridle is of utmost importance. In this particular bridle, you will see that we have a mare with a tender mouth, and we have wrapped the bit with tape to make it easier on the mare. We have also wrapped the curb chain to make it easy on the mare. Some horses that pull would not need this. This is a light mouth mare, and she needs it. One of the very most important things, and very often overlooked by even professionals, is the fact that the crown piece covers the two cheeks of the cavesson and the snaffle bit. Make sure that these are side by side and flat under the crown piece. Very often you will see them twisted around in this fashion, and when you pull on your curb bit, then you're digging into the pole of the horse and you're fighting your head and you're wondering why. So this must be very carefully done. I'm going to bridle this mare out here. Of course you would do this in the stall, but Richard Hill is going to help me here, and we're going to take the halter off, put it around the mare's neck. Whether you're in the stall or out, this is always a safety precaution, and it must be done this way. Take the opposite ear, put it in first, making sure that this is straight, and then feel up under here after you've done this, because sometimes that can slip when you put the bridle on. The throat lap should be loose, because when the horse collects themselves, very often they will choke down if you have your cavesson or any part of your bridle too loose, or if you have this too tight, you can see what's going to happen here. Most horses wear a moderately tight cavesson, which is just in a comfortable position, as you can see. One thing we want to be sure of is that the cavesson is of the proper height, so that when we pull on the snaffle bit, we don't pinch the horse between the cavesson and the snaffle. All right? And where you hook your curb chain depends completely upon your horse, and you can find this out only by experimentation. However, the one thing you do want to look for is when you draw on the curb that you have your bridle arranged in such a fashion that the horse's lip is not caught between the curb bit and the curb chain. Now we have a little trick here, and I'm going to show this to you in just a moment, about a problem that often occurs in the ring and how you can avoid this problem. I'd like to show you something that will save you a lot of embarrassment and annoyance in the show ring. The keepers on the bridle very often after use will stretch, and as you ride they will drop down and the loose end of the headstall will flap around. We have devised this. We put the bridle exactly where we want it to go. Then move the bit and take a bit of electric tape and tape below. In this way, but the tape doesn't show, as you see, because it is covered by the end of the headstall here. You should do that to all of your keepers, and your tack will remain constant throughout the class. It's these little things that ruin the ride, and it can blow a rider's mind when they're so perfect to look down and see the bridle looking like a plate of spaghetti with all of the leather flapping. These small things are what are the differential between a champion performance and just a good one. Now I'd like to go on and talk to you about the saddle. In placing the saddle on the horse, I'd just like to caution you to set it back where you want it, but to come front to back. Sometimes people get a saddle set too far back. When they cinch it up, it slides forward and turns the hair backwards. That's where sore backs come from, because the saddles push the hair upside down. You want to make sure to come from front to back, settle the saddle as it is. Now I want to show you some features of this saddle. It was something I had to invent because of the difference in so many riders' conformation, particularly the rider who is small and wants to go into their saddle and doesn't want to buy a saddle every year, or the rider who has a short thigh bone or short legs. I invented this sliding bar here, in which the stirrups may be pushed up here or as far back as here. That way, the rider is permitted to sit back, but their feet go with them. In the ordinary saddle, very often the rider wishes to sit back where they want to be, but they can't get their feet back because the stirrup leather is pulling them forward. The snap here is merely to keep the reins from hanging up on the saddle. Now, in cinching the saddle up, check this with your rider, check it with yourself so that you are comfortable. In using the humane girth, this is what we like to use because we can pull the front billet up high, the third billet, we skip the second, the third billet goes low. We have a little place for the knee to go. Very often if you pull the get over in there. If we pull the buckles up even, then there's a knot under the rider's leg, and it's very uncomfortable, and it's going to hurt them, and it can't help but react on the horse, too. Now, once you've done this, you've cinched your saddle up, walk the horse around a few paces until the horse is relaxed. A lot of horses are very smart. They'll take a big gulp of air, swell up, you think you have the saddle snug, and you get on and ride about 10 feet and you've got a loose saddle. So cinching up doesn't always mean that you do it the very first time. You put it where you want it, and then go up from there if it's loose. Coordination is very important in the riding habit. Now, this is the riding habit that is worn. It's known as an informal habit and is worn before 6 o'clock in the evening. You want to think a lot about your colors that you're using in relation to your horse. This is a very good combination here. We have done something a little bit different in using the dark shirt and the lighter vest. Ordinarily, you see the lighter colored shirts and the darker vest, but we went with this. We wanted to be attractive and matching the horse. The flower matches the bow band on the horse's head. You want to remember this when you start putting yourself together. Also, something I would like to point out is that many times the riding habit will be made so that half of the bell is sticking out behind. You want to make sure that you or your tailor, whoever's doing this, sets the buttons far enough forward that it pushes the bell of the pants forward and presents a smooth appearance in the back. Overly long pants sometimes will come down below here even to a point. And it's not only unattractive, but it prevents a judge from seeing exactly what the rider's foot is doing. The matching gloves, even the matching whip. A black whip would be acceptable, but this is better because everything matches. The necktie, the boutonniere, the horse's brow band, even the shade of lipstick is important because it takes a lot of little things to make for perfection, and it's very often the difference between winning and losing. You have to be attractive to the judge. The judge is not the judge's place to hunt you up. You must present such an eye-appealing picture that the judge will be drawn to you every time you pass. So I can't talk too much about the importance of the fit of the habit or your color combinations. This may seem a little ultra-aesthetic to some people, but believe me, it pays off. After 6 o'clock, the rider should dress in formal attire. It may be two types of formal attire. In this, we see the dark accessories, the black tie, the black cummerbund, and the red or dark boutonniere. It may be changed and wear the completely formal habit. Often for championships, the riders will do this with the white tie and the white gloves as opposed to the dark matching gloves and the white cummerbund. This is entirely up to the judgment of the rider and the trainer. I favor this habit over the white in that no matter how petite a rider's hands are, they appear large and ungainly to me in the white gloves. But popular appeal has made the white appointments predominant, particularly in the finals of all the qualifying classes. So I could almost say that the white appointments will appear in the finals, although it's not required. It may be the dark appointments or the white appointments. In equitation, balance is everything. Balance of the rider, balance of the horse. Horse balance is impossible until the rider has assumed a strong position in the saddle. This means a firmness in the stirrup, a pushing in from the foot to the knee, involving a calf contact that keeps the horse going forward. In order to collect our horse, we must push with our body position, restrain with our hands to keep the horse in form. Here we see the rider doing just that, urging the horse a bit. You'll notice that there is calf pressure from about the knee to about 6 inches down in this particular horse and rider combination. This will vary, but it's a tremendously important thing because that's what keeps the horse moving. If the riders ride with splayed legs where they touch the horse not at all from the knee down, then the horse falls apart and is no longer collected and drawn between the rider's hands and the impulsion of the seat and the lower leg. The torso position is gotten very simply by pulling the ribs up out of the belt and relaxing the shoulders. To try to throw the shoulders back purposely will stiffen the hands, stiffen the entire torso, and then we lose the elasticity of all the joints in the body. Now we're going to show you one of the worst faults that can happen, and probably the most frequent. The one in which the rider does not let the knee bend and the shin bone slant back, but pushes the foot out in front, creating a hazard, almost a hurdle, in which they have to hop over their own feet every time they post, not allowing the horse to push them out of the saddle as they would if the feet were back in place. With the feet back in place, you are assured of keeping the horse strong and aggressive because the body, mainly the leg, control the aggression and the forward movement of the horse. The hands restrain the horse, which both movements coupled result in your collected horse with a high head carriage and the chin dropped in with the flexion at the pole. Now we're seeing the same fault where the rider is riding with the legs splayed out to the side as well as out in front. In an attempt not to interfere with the horse, the rider is going more to the snaffle, and in this way we lose any contact with the horse's mouth and the collection of the horse is gone. Many riders mistake the term of aggression or show your horse with speed. There may be some increase in the speed, but it means a collection and showing the horse to his best advantage with the best action and best collection, which we see here. The rider is getting a nice trot out of her horse. It's strong, but it's put together. But many times we see this happen coming up where the rider just thinks speed is it and forgets about anything about the horse's movement. You see his nose go up and the horse flattens out and stretches out. The rider starts working. The term show your horse that occurs in the United Professional Horseman Challenge Cup means exactly show your horse to best advantage. Now this rider is pulling the horse together once again. Now you see the contrast between the collected horse that's going the aggressive trot and just the loose horse that was going at speed. This is tremendously important because this particular class was instituted to let riders know that the horse could move on in an aggressive manner and still stay in form. Now it's the combination of the curved bit to set the horse's head, the use of the snaffle to elevate the neck to get this front end of the horse right. The horse would back out of the bridle if we did not have a strong leg and a strong attitude that keeps the motor in the rear, pushing that horse up into the bridle and staying collected. In cantering, it is very important that the horse be cantered off of the outside leg aid on a straight line. One of the worst faults that can occur is when the rider pulls the horse off of the rail and heads back to the rail, very often resulting in either a cross lead or the total incorrect canter lead. One of the worst faults that a rider can do is in getting ready to canter, to pull the horse off of the rail, then point the horse back to the rail to get the lead. This is cantering at the rail and very often results in an incorrect lead, which is exactly what we have seen here. Then the rider stops the horse, not sure of the lead, and then finally progresses. There are a variety of workouts that may be called that incorporate any of the listed individual workouts in the AHSA rule book. One of the most popular and one of the most difficult is what we are going to see here, a show of change of lead. The correct lead, halt to the change to the counter lead or incorrect lead, and back to the correct lead. This is done with the horse on a straight line where the horse is working entirely off of the legs. The horse's head should not be turned in or out from the rail, but the body weight is slightly shifted to the lead desired and the opposing leg is drawn to the rear to set that lead up. The preparation of the horse psychologically has a great deal to do with your ride the entire class. So what you do outside, brace your motor a little bit, get the horse anxious to go in, and paying attention to you. That's the most important part of it all. All right, enter on a strong trot and keep it that way. The only way to have a winning ride is never to be satisfied with what your horse is doing. If he is going high, then ask him to go higher. You force him with your legs. That calf contact is so important. You must remember that the motor's in the rear, and what the horse does with his head and neck properly cannot be done unless we have a thrust from the hindquarters. So it's very important. You see here the rider's calves engaged in the side of the horse, and that's exactly what we want. We cannot get this with the splayed legs we talked about before. It's impossible. The walk should go someplace and be animated, not only for aesthetic appearance, but also to keep the horse alert and waiting for the signals to come. In this case, taking that left-handed lead simply off of the right leg aid. On the reverse, there is no rule about reversing toward the center or toward the rail. I recommend reversing toward the rail because it sets the horse up in the bridle, maintains the rider's position on the rail. There is no rule that it must be done that way. Also, with the change of whip, the rider may change the whip from side to side, carry it up or carry it down. We like to leave things free to the rider's imagination so that we don't have a stereotyped rider. We have certain rules that are rules of balance and rules of movement, but the rider's individual performance is the thing that makes that person a good rider, adequate, or a great rider. And it's the combination of all of the aids I think we haven't mentioned it before, but I think we have one more aid that we haven't talked about is the brain. You've got to think. You've got to think. This rider's coming in for the lineup and the horse looks great. The class is not over until the judges turn in their card. Many times the rider will want to let down with the relief that the effort is over and that they haven't made a mistake and fall asleep in the lineup. The horsemanship or equitation